Across rural America, a growing problem is quietly threatening the future of agriculture. It isn't drought, it isn't rising feed costs, and it isn't fluctuating commodity prices. It's the shortage of large animal veterinarians. While many people think of veterinarians as the professionals who care for dogs and cats, there is another side of veterinary medicine that is absolutely essential to American agriculture. Large animal veterinarians care for cattle, horses, sheep, goats, and other livestock. They help ranchers maintain healthy herds, assist with difficult births, treat injuries and illnesses, prevent disease outbreaks, and protect the nation's food supply. For horse owners, these veterinarians are equally important. Whether treating a horse suffering from colic, helping manage lameness issues, assisting with breeding programs, or responding to emergencies in the middle of the night, equine veterinarians play a vital role in keeping horses healthy and performing at their best. Without these professionals, farms, ranches, and horse operations simply cannot function effectively. Unfortunately, these veterinarians are becoming increasingly difficult to find. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, more than 500 counties across the country are currently experiencing shortages of large animal veterinarians. The problem affects 46 states and has reached its highest level since 2010. That statistic alone should raise a concern. For many rural communities, a veterinarian is not simply another service provider. They are a critical part of the agricultural infrastructure. When a dairy cow becomes sick, a calf requires emergency care, or a horse experiences a life-threatening medical emergency, delays in treatment can have serious consequences for both animal welfare and the producer's livelihood. In some parts of the country, farmers, ranchers, and horse owners are waiting longer for veterinary assistance than they did just a decade ago. In emergency situations, those delays can mean the difference between saving an animal and losing it. States across the country are searching for solutions, and Idaho is one of them. Recently, Idaho lawmakers and agricultural leaders began discussing new opportunities to strengthen the state's veterinary workforce. Their focus is not only on training more veterinarians, but also on finding ways to encourage those veterinarians to return to Idaho after completing their education. That distinction is important. For years, one of Idaho's biggest challenges has been what many rural states experience. Students leave home to pursue professional education and never come back. Veterinary medicine is a perfect example. Unlike some states, Idaho does not have its own veterinary college. Students who want to become veterinarians typically leave the state to pursue their education elsewhere. While many begin their journey intending to return home, life often takes them in other directions. They build professional networks, establish careers, and settle in other states. As a result, Idaho has struggled to replenish its veterinary workforce, particularly in rural areas where large animal veterinarians are needed most. Lawmakers and agricultural organizations recognize that simply increasing the number of veterinarian students is not enough. If those graduates choose to practice elsewhere, Idaho's shortage will remain. That is why state leaders are increasingly focused on strengthening the pipeline that brings veterinarians back home after graduation. One development attracting significant attention is the expansion of Utah State University's veterinary program. According to Dexton Lake of the Idaho Farm Bureau, Utah State has recently opened its veterinary program and is continuing to expand its facilities. As part of that expansion, the university plans to double its veterinary class size from approximately 40 students to 80. For Idaho, this represents an important opportunity. Lake explained that Idaho is a large state, and not every student wants to travel all the way to Washington State University to pursue a veterinary degree. Some students would prefer attending a program closer to home, and Utah State could provide exactly that option. As a result, Idaho leaders are expected to continue conversations about how the state can work with Utah State and potentially create additional opportunities for Idaho students. The hope is straightforward. If more Idaho students can access veterinary education through nearby programs, perhaps more of them will eventually return to Idaho to practice. State leaders are also exploring ways to make returning home a more attractive option. Across the country, various states have issued incentives such as scholarships, loan repayment programs, and financial assistance to encourage veterinarians to work in rural communities after graduation. While specific proposals are still being discussed, Idaho lawmakers clearly understand that solving the shortage will require more than simply educating veterinarians. They must also convince those veterinarians that returning to Idaho is worth it. The shortage itself is being driven by several factors. One major challenge is cost. Veterinary school is expensive. Many graduates leave school carrying significant student loan debt, sometimes well into six figures. At the same time, large animal practice often offers lower earning potential than some companion animal species located in urban and suburban areas. Imagine graduating with substantial educational debt and then choosing between a small animal clinic in a city and a career that requires driving hundreds of miles across rural communities to treat livestock and horses. For many graduates, the decision becomes difficult. The shortage is not occurring because people dislike working with animals such as cattle or horses. And in fact, many veterinarian students enter the profession specifically because they love the large animals. The challenge is that financial realities often push them towards different career paths. Lifestyle considerations also play a significant role. Large animal veterinarians frequently work long and unpredictable hours. A horse suffering from colic does not care whether it is midnight. A mare having complications during foaling cannot wait until the next business day. A rancher facing an emergency calving situation may need assistance immediately, regardless of weather conditions and holidays. For veterinarians serving rural communities, emergency calls are simply part of the job. Many practitioners cover enormous geographic areas. A veterinarian may spend hours driving between cattle operations, horse farms, and ranches before they even begin treating patients. This demanding lifestyle can contribute to burnout and make recruitment more challenging. The consequences of the shortage extend far beyond individual veterinary practices. American agriculture depends on healthy livestock populations. Veterinarians play a central role in maintaining animal health and preventing disease outbreaks. They monitor herd health, develop vaccination programs, investigate illnesses, and help producers identify problems before they become major threats. The equine industry also depends heavily on veterinary expertise. Performance horses, breeding operations, lesson barns, ranch horses, and pleasure horses all require professional care. As shortages worsen, horse owners in some regions may find it increasingly difficult to access specialized veterinary services. In many ways, veterinarians serve as the first line of defense against diseases that could threaten entire industries. They are also essential for food safety. Healthy animals contribute to a stable and secure food supply. When veterinarian services become scarce, that entire system becomes more vulnerable. This is one reason federal officials have become increasingly concerned about the issue. The shortage is not simply an employment problem. It is an agricultural problem. It is an animal welfare problem. And ultimately, it is a food security problem. That is why policymakers, universities, agricultural organizations, and veterinary associations are all paying closer attention. Several potential solutions have been proposed. Expanding veterinary education programs is one of the most obvious. More veterinarian students means more future veterinarians. The expansion at Utah State University represents exactly this type of effort. However, increasing enrollment alone will not solve the problem. Many experts argue that retention must be part of the solution. States need ways to encourage graduates to return to the communities that need them most. Loan repayment assistance, scholarships tied to rural service commitment, and targeted incentives could all play important roles. Improving working conditions may help as well, creating opportunities for shared emergency coverage, reducing workload pressures, and providing stronger support networks could make rural veterinary practice more attractive to younger veterinarians. Technology may also play a role. While telemedicine cannot replace hands-on veterinary care for livestock and horses, it may help veterinarians provide guidance and support across large geographic regions. Ultimately, solving the veterinarian shortage will require a combination of approaches. There is unlikely to be a single solution that fixes everything overnight. For Idaho, the expansion of Utah State University's veterinary program may represent an important opportunity. But perhaps even more important is the state's growing recognition that educating veterinarians is only half of the battle. The real challenge is bringing them home. As more veterinarians retire and demand for livestock and equine healthcare continues to grow, the need for qualified professionals will only become greater. The decisions made today by lawmakers, universities, and agricultural organizations could have lasting effects on the future of rural America. Because behind every healthy herd, every successful ranch, every thriving horse operation, and every productive farm is a veterinarian whose work often goes unnoticed. The challenge now is ensuring that the next generation is ready and willing to take their place. If not, the shortage facing rural America today could become an even larger crisis tomorrow. Do you think states should invest more money in veterinary education? Let us know your thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, I am not AI. If you listen closely, you can hear me breathing.